Hello, friends, and welcome back. Let's talk about why you feel capped around your income, visibility, and the impact that you're here to experience. And an even more important question that you may have never paused to ask yourself: what if the reason that you feel capped is actually because you inherited a limiting belief from a past generation? Here's what I want you to know before we go any further. There are 3 specific tools that help clear these inherited limiting beliefs faster than any traditional mindset work ever could. These tools work with the subconscious mind, the body, and the nervous system. So your goals stop feeling like a threat and they start feeling like your natural next step. We'll get into all 3 today, but first, I want you to understand why this resistance exists in the first place. Before we start, if you want support in rewiring the beliefs that are capping your income, your visibility, and your next level, you can apply to work with me using the link in the description. If you're listening to this episode, you are probably someone who has taken risks, broken rules of tradition, and built something that most people around you would say is already enough. And yet you still feel the hunger for more income, more reach, more impact, and more freedom. And not because you're ungrateful or unsatisfied, but because deep down you feel that you are meant for more. And if you listen to episode 19, you already know why this is normal. So while you have these desires, you also feel a resistance that you can't explain why it's there. How does this resistance show up exactly? Maybe you're reaching for your next level of income and suddenly you feel tired, foggy, overwhelmed, or unsure. Maybe you want to grow your business or your creative reach and you find yourself hesitating. Maybe what you want is more freedom and more options, and there is a part of you that feels selfish for wanting it, like you're abandoning your lineage by choosing a life that they never had access to. That resistance or tug and pull tells us something about the beliefs living in your subconscious mind that were installed in your operating system long before you had a say. So what's actually going on under the surface? What most people aren't taught is how between the ages of 0 and 7, you're basically a walking sponge. You absorb everything from the adults around you. Mom and dad's beliefs about money, grandma's beliefs about success, auntie's beliefs about safety, visibility, power, and change. You basically download their programming like a software on a computer because you don't yet have the filter that asks, is this actually true for me? And the wild part is this: you don't just carry their beliefs, you carry their emotional residue, their memories, and their fears. Research in epigenetics shows that emotional imprints can echo through as many as 14 generations, which means you might be living out patterns that originated with someone you never even met in your lineage. No wonder that you can hit a level of success that feels aligned and then suddenly you feel resistance. No wonder you can build something incredible and then quietly fear that the next leap will cost you your peace and you'll lose it all. Your nervous system isn't responding to the truth of who you are. It's responding to the old inherited experiences that were never updated in your mind and body. Some examples of how these invisible beliefs show up are: you can be a creative at the top of your field and still carry the belief that being seen too much is unsafe because generations before you survived by staying quiet. You can be a high earner and subconsciously believe that money will separate you from the people you love because someone in your lineage was taught that success creates distance. You can be an independent woman with no children by choice and still feel guilty for wanting a life that expands beyond tradition because your ancestors equated worth with sacrifice. You can be a solopreneur with a vision and still feel like a fraud every time you hit a new milestone because the women who came before you never had permission to take up space in that way. Here comes the moment of truth. Someone in your lineage has to be the one who upgrades the code. Someone has to be the one who looks at the belief and says, "Thank you for how you protected me, but I do not need this anymore." Someone in your lineage has to live the life that proves a new possibility is safe. And if you're listening, that somebody is probably you, my friend. In my own journey, I carried beliefs that weren't mine for years. Growing up in a lineage marked by scarcity, emotional instability, and expectations that I would follow the same path as my single teen mother, I internalized ideas that ambition was dangerous, visibility was risky, rest was a luxury, and money was unreliable, and also that success was not for people like me. Those limiting beliefs showed up every time I hit a new level, every time I stepped into a new identity, every time I tried to expand beyond what felt familiar, my body would react as if I was doing something wrong. But the truth was that I was just doing something new that I hadn't seen anyone in my family do. And new things feel destabilizing until the subconscious learns that they are safe. So how do we rewire these inherited beliefs, and how do we upgrade our operating system to one that supports the dreams that we actually want to manifest? To accomplish this change, I like to lean on 3 tools that update the software of the mind at rapid speed instead of trying to force the change through slow habit changes and positive thinking. The first is hypnosis. In hypnosis, we bypass the critical faculty, and the critical faculty of our mind is the mental gatekeeper that usually filters out anything new or unfamiliar. Your mind automatically rejects ideas that don't match your existing beliefs. That is why affirmations can feel good to say, but never fully land in your body. And this is why when you attempt to repeat the affirmations, they feel like a lie. In hypnosis, that critical faculty, aka the filter, lowers its defenses and relaxes. You stay aware and you stay in control, but the subconscious becomes more accessible. At that point, we guide the subconscious towards new interpretations that support the person that you want to become, the life you want to create, and the habits and behaviors and ways of thinking required to have those things. Through hypnosis, we gain access to the part of the mind that actually drives the patterns. Next is neural energetic encoding. I use this tool to work directly with the way your subconscious organizes memories, emotions, and beliefs, so you can release the old beliefs and emotions that were created through past experiences or inherited through family conditioning. I guide you into a relaxed, receptive state using breath, hypnotic language, and specific energetic cues. I then access the root of the limiting beliefs and emotions like guilt, hurt, shame, anger, worry, and fear without actually reliving the past. And once we locate the original imprint, your mind can release the emotional charge, integrate the learnings, and encode new inner resources that support the identity and outcomes that you actually want. And this allows the change to feel natural and grounded because we are working with a part of your mind that creates your automatic responses, your habits, and your sense of identity. And lastly, we have breath work. Breath work is what helps the body catch up with the mind. As you release old programming, breath work signals to the nervous system that the new reality is safe. It lets the updated beliefs feel normal instead of risky. And this is the part that most people skip because they're not aware that this is a critical component. You cannot install a new identity if your body is still bracing for impact, fearing that all the success is going to come crashing down. Breathwork teaches your system to relax into the expansion rather than resist it. And here's more food for thought. Walking around with inherited beliefs is like wearing your great-great-great-great-great-grandmother's wedding dress in 2025. A dress that hasn't been washed, updated, fitted, or altered. It wasn't made for your body, and it wasn't made for this era. It wasn't made for your life. So today you get to decide if this is the moment you take it off, honor what it meant in its time, and choose the beliefs and ways of thinking that are made for you and support the life that you are creating. Releasing an old belief creates space for something that empowers you instead of constrains you, space for a version of you that your lineage only dreamed of. And you get to say to those old beliefs, thank you for how you have protected me. I'm ready to let this go. When you stop carrying what was never yours, your goals stop feeling like a threat. They feel like an invitation. Your income expands because you're no longer hitting the invisible ceiling of inherited fear. Your creativity becomes freer. You stop bracing for burnout and start building from a regulated, empowered state of being. And you stop apologizing for wanting more, and you recognize that your expansion opens doors for others. Everything changes when your subconscious stops fighting your goals and instead embraces your expansion as the default software that you operate on. If after listening to this episode, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is what I've been experiencing, I'd be honored to serve you. The link to apply to work with me is in the description. And I'd love to know what resonated with you from this episode. Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next one.